Lady Spider Lady set. This set didn't come as a set. I bought the bass drum separately and then saw the 6.5 Lady Elite in Chicago, and I had all the accessories as well and made it up as a set. And that's late 20s.
Who did the photography on all these? Is this all the same person, or?
The photographs were done by a gentleman that works for Rhythm magazine in England by the name of James Cumpsey. And as you can see, he does some really nice work, and all the photographs are credited to him. At the front of the book there are all articles that appeared in Rhythm magazine in England, and if anyone would like to buy that, then go ahead and get copies of that, and you can read about the collection and read about the articles, and it's interesting reading. Nice set.
These are in great shape too, your temple blocks.
The temple blocks are in pretty good shape, yep.
I have a set that are pretty beat up, but these look really good. Same red and black with the gold.
Yep.
I've seen others in white, but this is what most commonly you see, but beautiful. And again, this is Lady. This is one of the Lady original.
This is Lady's standard painting of the late 20s, and there are 3 variations of this painting that I know of. I'm sure that there are more, but the other ones that I've seen don't have the red on the middle of the spider's web.
Okay.
And the lady's still black. And the other variation, there is red, and the lady is in like a marble effect rather than black.
Now there's one at the show here, right?
There's another one at the show, yeah.
I know it's in the back of the room. We may have filmed it already, but we'll go back and take a look at that one and compare it to this one right here. So see everything at the show here. What's next?
What's next?
Here we go.
Some shots of the 6.5 Lady Elite.
What's the name of this strainer?
Don't quote me on it, but I'm going to tell you that it's a rapid strainer. I'm sure someone else is going to say that's a lot of rubbish, because I'm not a Lady expert. I'm more of a Slingland guy than a Lady guy. So go and buy some of the drum books and have a look and swat up on what that strainer is.
Yeah, it's funny because I was wondering what is the correct strainer to go under, because 2 years ago at the show I bought a drum from Monte Carlo's here.
Right.
And it was a Black Elite, only he said, now this is the incorrect strainer, but it's still okay. He says, and you can see where these holes were and these indentations. But he said it's still, they used a different strainer later on. And it was fine with me because there were some defects in the drum, and the price, it was priced appropriately too. But I've always been wanting to put that strainer back on, the correct strainer back on. That's why I asked you if maybe you knew what.
Maybe it's the Speedway.
Okay.
The Lady book would certainly tell you which strainer it was.
Now next, this is my personal holy grail here, but
well, it's a 1929 Ludwig & Ludwig Peacock Pearl, 5x14. There are quite a few variations of this Peacock Pearl. This one, as you can see, not too clearly from the picture, but there's more browns and reds and yellows in that. And there are another shade of Peacock Pearl that's got more blue and beige and green. And they're still both Peacock Pearl.
Right.
But I like to call this Rainbow Pearl.
I read the article about that, about some modern drummer, where they were talking about these, that someone decided, hey, there's a difference between these, what they've been calling Peacock Pearl, so they decided to call it Rainbow Pearl.
Yeah.
And I think Mike Corrado actually piled up the drums and showed the difference, that the lower 3 were the rainbow version, the top were the peacock version.
Right.
And you could really, you could see there's a definite difference there.
If you look in Rob Cook's swatch book, on the page that shows this finish, Rob calls it the rainbow finish. Now, I don't know where he's got that information from, because I'm not sure that I've seen it in any other Ludwig & Ludwig catalogue, but I've certainly seen it called the Peacock. If we look on the next page,
this is astounding now.
There's the Peacock set.
Now, it's even hard for me to sit here and keep my composure when I sit with Mike Corrado and guys like this that have these types of collections. When I'm going to talk to him in a minute about how he got to where he's at, but this to me is unheard of. Although they had something like this at the show last year, this looks much better, I think, than what I saw. Go ahead. This is a...
Well, the set came out from a friend of mine in Connecticut called Rick Hines, who runs the Boston show, and he called me up 5 years ago, and he knows that I collect sets, and he knows that I like all the 20s and 30s stuff. And he called me and said, Dave, I've got an old set that you might be interested in. I said, what colour is it? He said, I'm not quite sure. Some red, blue, like a rainbow, peacock type thing.
Were you sweating by then? Or?
I had a serious sweat about a phone call. Before I even discussed how much he wanted for it, I said, just send it to me. And he said, don't you want to know the price? I said, no, just send it to me. And he charged me $1,600, and that was included the snowshoe, the pedal, the symbol for the attachment for the bass drum beater, the L-arms, the Chinese tom, the ratchet.
Unheard of. Complete.
Everything.
It's one thing just to find a bass drum and a snare matching in peacock pearl like that, but to then even, these types of things are very rare too. The snowshoe hi-hats, these are the precursor to, what the hi-hat as we know today. Amazing deal. That's great. What a story. Next.
Again, a Ludwig and Ludwig set. This set didn't come complete, but luckily enough, I managed to find a matching 6.5 by 14 Ludwig Super from Bunny. I already had the bass drum with the painted head on it, and I already had the trap table and the temple blocks and all the rest of the accessories. And Bunny sold me the matching snare drum, and as you can see, it's quite a nice set.
Fantastic.
If you want to move on and have a look at the head paintings in slightly more detail,
look at that.
and we turn it round, that's the head that was on the Ludwig and Ludwig set, and all these paintings, as you see them here, haven't been cleaned. Since the photographer from Rhythm took the pictures, they've now been cleaned by a professional art restorer, and I promise you they're absolutely magnificent. If you think they look good here, you want to see them now. They're out of this world, like they've just been painted from the
Is that
factory.
expensive to do, to have a painting cleaned?
I was frightened to death of the guy giving me a severe price tag, and he charged me £160, which is under $300 to get them all clean.
To get them all?
To get them all clean.
Okay.
That's not for each one, that's for all of them.
That's great. And how many did you get?
I gave him 5.
5. What a price. That's great. Okay.
The guy did them in about 2 days.
I have no idea even how they do it.
He wouldn't tell me what he used a certain chemical, and he came up to my home, and I said, can you clean them? And he went, yeah. And that was all he did.
Okay, next, what do we got? Yeah, this is great.
We've got another painted head from Ludwig and Ludwig. I've since got a Black Beauty snare drum to match this set.
Where did that come from?
The bass drum came from Jonas Aronson again, along with 3 other painted heads that you've just seen. And the snare drum came from Mike Curotto 2 years ago.
Mike, he's everywhere. Okay, now this, I recognize this is a master model.
This is the George Stone master model from the turn of the century. 12 lugs on the top, 12 lugs on the bottom. It takes you forever to take the head off and put a new one on, but I just like them because they don't look like a modern drum. They look anything as far away from a modern drum as you could ever see.
Plus, I think the George Stone drums he was the first company out of Boston to actually survive. Weren't there a lot of companies, smaller companies around in that area, such as Stromberg across the street?
I'm really not sure.
Well, but there was a company across the street, right across, that even borrowed parts from George Stone. They would make banjos and vice versa, except it was called the Stromberg Company, and they also made snare drums, and I managed to find one, but they didn't survive, and George Stone was the one that seemed to make it in that era. And this is their kind of their best drum.
To my knowledge, Stone did 3 different colours in the master model.
Oh yeah?
They did black, they did white marine pearl, which was a covering, and they also did maple. And the white marine pearl is beautiful.
I think I've never seen the metal.
Never seen it?
I don't think I've seen the metal. I've seen black,
No,
mostly.
maple.
Oh,
Not
maple.
metal.
I thought you said metal.
No,
I'm sorry.
natural
Maple. Yeah, I've seen. Okay, then I have seen all 3.
Yeah.
Great.
And for the moment, that's it for my
And this is
collection.
complete. No parts missing.
Just one part missing to adjust the actual snare mechanism. But I knew about that when I bought the drum, and that stays on there because I don't have an original one and I can't find one. So for the moment, it's going to stay as it is. So at the minute, that's sort of all my collection, and it's growing slowly, and hopefully next year we'll have the next instalment of the video for everyone to see.